Imagine this, you're staring at your phone, waiting. The notification never comes. Minutes stretch into hours, then into a full day. Your mind spins through every possibility. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? Maybe they just forgot, but deep down you know the pattern. They pull away, you chase, they return, just when you've convinced yourself to move on. And for reasons you can't explain, the cycle keeps pulling you back in. Now here's the contradiction. You know this person hurts you. You know this relationship leaves you feeling empty, anxious, and exhausted. And yet the mere thought of letting go feels unbearable. The pain of staying is real, but the pain of leaving? That feels even worse. Why do we crave what destroys us? Why do the very relationships that leave us feeling unseen, unheard, and unloved become the hardest to walk away from? The answer lies in a twisted dance of psychology, chemistry, and deeply ingrained survival mechanisms. A dance we never consciously agreed to, but one we perform over and over again. The addiction isn't just emotional, it's biological. Each time you get a moment of affection or validation from this person, your brain releases a surge of dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure and reward. But just as quickly as it comes, it vanishes, leaving you in withdrawal, desperate for the next hit. Sound familiar? That's because this cycle is nearly identical to substance addiction. Yet it's even deeper than that. Attachment theory tells us that the way we bond in relationships is rooted in our earliest experiences with love and security. If, as a child, love was inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes there, sometimes not, then unpredictability itself becomes familiar. And in a strange, cruel twist of fate, we gravitate toward what we know, not necessarily what's good for us. The very chaos that should repel us instead feels like home. Think about it. If love was once something you had to earn, something given to you in fleeting moments before being snatched away, then the highs and lows of a toxic relationship don't feel dysfunctional. They feel normal. More than that, they feel like proof that love must be fought for, that your worth is something to be won. And so, you stay. You chase. You wait for that next moment of validation, mistaking it for something real. But what if it's not love at all? What if it's just a loop, a self-perpetuating cycle of intermittent reinforcement designed to keep you hooked? What if the intensity of the highs is just a smokescreen for the depths of the lows? And most importantly, if you finally saw the pattern for what it is, would you have the courage to break free? Before you answer, we need to go deeper. Because understanding why this happens isn't enough. To truly escape, we have to confront the hidden forces that shape our attachments, our fears, and even our very sense of self. And that means diving into the psychological and philosophical roots of why we cling to what hurts us the most. To understand why we stay trapped in toxic relationships, we have to go beyond surface-level explanations. It's not just about poor choices or bad luck, it's about the subconscious programming that dictates who and what we are drawn to. And at the core of that programming lies a mix of psychology, philosophy, and survival instincts that shape our deepest attachments. One of the most influential ideas in psychology comes from attachment theory, first developed by John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. It suggests that our earliest experiences with caregivers determine how we relate to love and connection for the rest of our lives. If you grew up with secure, consistent affection, you likely developed a secure attachment style. Trusting, stable, and capable of healthy intimacy. But if love was unpredictable, conditional, or even withheld, you may have developed an anxious or avoidant attachment style, both of which play directly into toxic relationship patterns. If you have an anxious attachment style, you crave closeness, but constantly fear being abandoned, which can make you put up with unhealthy relationships just to keep the connection alive. On the flip side, avoidant attachment makes you push people away before they get a chance to hurt you, creating a frustrating cycle where one person is always chasing and the other is always withdrawing. And here's the thing. These patterns aren't just emotional. They're hardwired into your nervous system. But attachment isn't the only factor. Let's bring in the work of Carl Jung, who explored the idea of the shadow self, the hidden, repressed parts of our psyche that we refuse to acknowledge. Jung believed that we are unconsciously drawn to relationships that mirror our unresolved wounds, not because we want to suffer, but because our psyche is trying to heal through repetition. In other words, we unconsciously recreate the emotional environment we grew up in, hoping to finally get it right. The problem? That cycle seldom brings about resolution. It merely repeats itself. Nietzsche warned us about a dangerous trap, the tendency to mistake suffering for meaning. If a relationship feels like a constant struggle, if it's painful, if it drains you, it must mean it's deep and worth fighting for, right? Wrong. That's the illusion. Not all suffering leads to growth. Sometimes it just keeps you stuck in more suffering. And let's not forget dopamine. Neuroscience has shown that intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable cycle of reward and punishment, is one of the strongest forms of psychological conditioning. Casinos use it. Social media uses it. And toxic relationships use it. When love becomes a gamble, the wins feel euphoric, but the losses keep you hooked, chasing the next moment of validation like a gambler chasing a jackpot. So what does all this mean? It means that if you've ever wondered why you stay in a relationship that logically makes no sense, it's because logic isn't what's keeping you there. It's biology, it's conditioning. It's attachment wounds masquerading as love. And until you recognize these forces at play, breaking free feels almost impossible. But here's the truth. You're not doomed to repeat this cycle forever. Understanding the hidden mechanisms is the first step, but the real question is, how do you break the pattern? And that's where we turn next. Escaping the grip of a toxic relationship isn't just about walking away. It's about rewiring the very patterns that keep pulling you back. It requires a radical shift in perspective, one that challenges everything you thought love was supposed to be. The first step is recognizing the illusion of scarcity. When you're in a toxic dynamic, your brain convinces you that this is your only shot at love, at connection, at meaning. But that's a lie. True love, healthy, stable, nourishing love, doesn't operate on cycles of withdrawal and reward. It doesn't make you question your worth. Secondly, you have to recondition your nervous system. If chaos feels like home, stability will feel boring at first. But boredom is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of healing. Learning to sit with emotional discomfort without running back to the person who caused it is one of the most powerful ways to set yourself free. Finally, reclaiming your sense of identity. Toxic relationships erode your self-worth, making you dependent on external validation. But the truth is, you were never incomplete to begin with. The love you seek isn't found in another person's approval. It's found in your own ability to stand firm in who you are. Because in the end, breaking free isn't about finding someone new to love. It's about learning to love yourself enough to walk away. The chains were never real to begin with. The only question that remains is this: are you ready to see them for what they are? If you enjoyed this video, we would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. It will go a long way to help our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.